Hello plant friends, this is Miro from Basic Plants and welcome to It is 30 degrees of Celsius inside and I am repotting with my windows closed and with no air conditioning. Today I wanted to do a Q&A so you can know me a little bit better and so you can help me get through this repotting because I've been putting it off for a very long time because the plant I want to repot causes me a great deal of stress and anxiety, and it is this Philodendron Varicosum, which I have two of. I have no plans, really, no game plan here. I'm just gonna dunk it out and hope it is all well. That's the plan. I do have about, I would say, 11 questions. I will just show you my first Philodendron Varicosum. And it's right here. So he's all over the place, honestly. The root system looks very good. There might be times in this repotting video where you will not see my face, and I know you will miss me in those moments, but like I'm here. Don't worry. First question that I received is, when did you start collecting plants? I think it was around 2007 when I had my first plant. It's a plant that we already had in our home. It's a plant that was very mistreated, and I just decided one day, I'm gonna take care of it. It was a Calla Lily. We had a big one, a very big one, and it never flowered for my parents. They also had a small one, and I took the small one. I looked through books and I found out, well, it needs a dormant period in order to bloom again. So I let it go through dormancy, and I must have messed something up because it never woke up again. That's a terrible story. But the first plant was around there. Then I would say around the 8th grade, I really got into plants then. I started with palms. For some reason, they really fascinated me. After that, I had some orchids. I didn't really have Hoyas until like 3 years ago or so. I think after the 8th grade, I had plants for like 3 years, and then I went abroad to study abroad. At that point, I had over 100 plants. And then when I left abroad, my mom killed all of those. So that's a bit heartbreaking. After that, I didn't have plants because I went into university. So I didn't have plants up until 3 years ago. So that's a huge gap, I realize now. But yeah, that's the story of me with plants. But the thing is, I grew up with plants. My dad had plants, my uncle had plants. He had the giant alocasias, and he still does have giant alocasias, and I'm fascinated by them because I can never get mine to grow so big. I have the moss pole, and I'm cutting towards myself. The pole can be continued, so that's good. You saw nothing. Yeah, they will fit for sure. So I will just put this here until I make the mix. Can we get a house plant tour? Yeah, you can. Of course, I did want to make a houseplant tour earlier, but some of my plants are still outside. Some of them got sun-kissed, sunburned. So you will be getting a houseplant tour. I don't know when. I'm hoping in a month or two. What are your wish list plans? Thailand. I just want all the plants that are in Thailand. Some from South America too. I have a lot of Hoyas on my wish list. I know this may come as a shock to you. I have Hoya undulata on my wish list. I actually purchased one, but you know, things have been very strange with shipping and, well, not with shipping, with the world. Nothing to do with the shipping. So it cannot be shipped yet, and I purchased it in, I think, April, so I'm still waiting. I'm like hoping it's August, really. It's August, and there is no hint that it will come anytime soon. I have a lot of Hoyas on my wish list. Some of them are Imperialis. Cliniforum has been on my wish list for a long time. Maniparensis. Teddy bear is one of the Hoyas that I want. Silver Polinera. Imbricata. I want Hoya imbricata too. I want Hoya multiflora. Imagine that. I cannot find Hoya multiflora here. And I know it's supposed to be common, but I cannot find it. So that one. There are some orchids on my wish list. I would really like to get better at orchids, especially at primary hybrids. I don't have a primary hybrid, but maybe next week I will have one. There are many aroids on my wish list too. I really love aroids, like Melanochrysum is on my wish list, Verrucosum or Verrucosanum, or just the queen anthurium. I'm gazing into my dreams, if you're wondering what I'm doing. I'm just dreaming now about plants that I want to get. I want to get El Choco Red. So many beautiful plants out there. I guess I will make a separate wish list video. I think that would be the best. You know, when I just sit down with myself and think about things I want. That would be the best. What do you recommend as a fertilizer? 1 second, I need to get the perlite. I must not get crazy with perlite because this philodendron really wants moisture. So I just have to be careful about not making the mix too... I'm sorry, the perlite is getting into my nose. I don't want to make the mix too... not too airy, but I just want it to be able to retain some moisture. What do I recommend as a fertilizer? I'm not a fertilizer expert. I'm learning a lot about fertilizer from my friend. She's a fertilizer expert, really, because basically she's a scientist. And she gives me advice and I consult her a lot of the time on fertilizer. So just recently I figured out that I should probably using more calcium. Currently I use Algamic from BioBiz. I tried Plagroon, algae from Plagroon, but I didn't like that. It just didn't smell nice. I'm using also, for Hoyas and for orchids, I use orchid fertilizer, Focus Grow, and I also have Focus Bloom. And I think she also sent me another Focus Complete or something like that. She sent me a lot of fertilizers. She sent me from the German nursery Schwerter. They have a fertilizer used for orchids, so I have to try that out, how it works out. I hear that Osmocote is very good fertilizer for plants like philodendrons and monsteras, but of course diluted. All of those I think are milder fertilizers. I think it's better to go milder, more frequent. I'm learning more about fertilizers. Before I just used whatever. And plants did fine. Do worm castings attract fungus gnats? I don't know. This is the first time I'm using worm castings. Well, the second time, but like my first time was yesterday, so I cannot give a review. I would think yes. They love things that are organic and that are breaking apart in the medium. That's their jam. I'm using worm castings now. I'm just moving this plant back and forth, poor plant. I will let you know how it goes. What? Oh, I need a third hand. I don't think this will work all that well. It's a bit of a shallower pot, so I will just move him closer to you because that's working out well. I do need to press in a bit because otherwise the stake will not stay. And yes, I know you're supposed to leave like a centimeter or whatever around the edge so you could water. Obviously, I picked a pot that is too shallow. So forgive me for that. Stop being so crooked. Now comes the horrible part. The horrible part is staking it, actually tying it to the pole. I'm really just unsure what to do with this leaf. It annoys me. Just going to assess the situation here. Okay, I need you to attach. That's not looking too bad. So I'm just gonna secure it. That pole is just not having its best day. It's just moving all around. I cannot have you doing that. Stupid stake. Oh, where you gonna go? So I think this guy, I will just attach it here. Oh, now it's going to that side. Stop moving. Right now, I'm very angry at the moss pole. Okay, so that's not a very good job, is it? By the way, I had to buy two. I couldn't buy one. Not because I really wanted to, but that was the condition. So I got two. Okay, let's just move on to the next question. Which leca size do you use for Hoya carry? To my knowledge, there aren't specific leca sizes. It's just that with some leca that is lower quality, it will not be uniform. Or that's what I meant to say in that video. So I don't know really if there are different leca sizes. I don't find different leca sizes here unless I buy a cheaper, lower quality leca, and then I will get all sort of stuff there. There will be a lot of broken leca, a lot of dust. I just use the regular leca, the Plagroon leca. That's what I use and I like. So whatever size that is. Standard. I really cannot believe that these are all one plant. Like, they have several growth points. I didn't know Philodendron Varicosum was this crazy with growth. That is a good position for the moss pole. Why is the potting mix always on the wrong side? That's my question. I'm totally not struggling. Let's talk about Philodendron Varicosum for a moment, okay? He's like a diva. I mean, I don't think anyone does like this behavior in plants. Like, if you do, what's wrong with you? Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. So the second one was much quicker because I didn't do anything. One thing about Philodendron Varicosum is it doesn't want to be hot. Philodendron Varicosum would like it to be between 16 and 21 degrees Celsius. I guess I really should have done my research, but it's too late now. And I'm stuck with the plant, with two of them. Which are the Hoyas you have successfully grown in semi-hydro, and what is the nutrient composition you're giving them? In semi-hydro, I have Hoya caudata, I have Hoya australis, subspecies tenuipes, or tenuipes. I have Hoya potsi, Hoya carnosa, Hoya compacta, and now I have Hoya Carey splash and one with the variegated margins. I also have now parasitica in semi-hydro, and I have the regular Hoya Carey. I have also Hoya globulosa in semi-hydroponics. The one doing the worst is definitely Hoya caudata, but to be fair, it wasn't a good cutting to start with. I had to reroot it, but I just had a part of the vine with no leaves, and now I have leaves in it, so I guess it's doing okay. But it's still not doing amazingly. So that one is the most challenging. Carnosas, they don't mind it at all. None of them. Hoya Carey is doing excellent. Hoya australis also. Oh, I do have a small cutting of Lacunosa. I have Bella, and I have... yeah, that's all I have. Sorry. The issue is that I think it's me. I forget to fill the reservoir. So I would say generally, overall, they're doing okay. Initially, I noticed there was more growth, and then it kind of slowed down. What nutrient composition do I use? I use the TDS meter, and I add a little by little. I'm stirring. And then I try to stay around 150 or 200, depends. Sometimes it's never the same, you know, I'm just eyeballing it, and I check that I don't really get too high with ppm. I don't want to get like 400 or 500, so less than 200, that's what I aim for. I add sometimes I will add super drive, sometimes organic. I use Orchid Focus Grow, that's my primary fertilizer. So if you're going to do semi-hydroponics, you need to get the TDS meter, because I don't know what is the ppm of your water. So, you know, sometimes my starting point is 20, sometimes it's 40. It depends on the rainwater. It really depends. You definitely need a meter. No one can give you the exact measures. And I'm sure that's why you cannot find the measures online. Because everyone has that different starting point. This is Philodendron squmiferum. I was really happy about getting this one, but it arrived like this. It's not thirsty. I watered this plant. The leaf is broken and first growing in a funky way. That's like, so I don't know what the issue is. So I didn't do this. I don't see any root mealybugs, which is good. The roots look healthy. This one will be easier to stake. Like, this is the challenge that I can accept. I have two questions about Hoyas. One, who did you buy Hoyas from in Sweden? And why do you have moss in the pots? I think I explained the moss in that video, but I will say it again. The moss is there to keep the moisture in the pot, because that mix consists only of bark and nothing else. It's just bark and sphagnum moss. So moss is there to hold the moisture in. Who did I buy from in Sweden? I bought from Camilla. She is the head of the Hoya Swedish Society. I bought from Camilla. She's a lovely lady, and I hope I can buy from her again. I hope I can meet her one day. She's very, very, very lovely. Hoya cortesi and Hoya elliptica are from a friend. I also bought from her. What is the name of the begonias that you killed, and when to water them? The names, I didn't ID all of them. I know one was Hildegard Schneider. Well, I underwatered it, so it lost all of the leaves. And then I took it outside to recover because it was still summer, and then I kind of forgot about it, to be honest. I forgot to bring it in. Other begonias were rhizomatous types. 3 of them arrived, I told you, in a box that was just in, you know, it was a pile of mush. I thought I could recover them, but I couldn't. I don't really know the names. I got one of them again. I will show that begonia at some later time. And this time they arrived great. I think one of them was... I think one of the begonias that I also killed were Black Mamba or Black Mambo. It was a small begonia, so I wasn't very careful about watering. I had two larger ones, or just established ones. They were not from a leaf. They were not plugs, I guess. Those were Nordic Glacier with silver leaves. And the other one was, I want to say Jungle Bush, but it's not Jungle Bush. I don't know. Those I underwatered. I kept underwatering and underwatering, and I always waited for the leaves to completely drop, you know, to just go like this. And they would always come back, you know, after each underwatering episode, but each time they had less and less and less leaves. When to water begonias, I keep them in self-watering pots, but the reservoir is kind of small, so I refill it once a week. Sometimes I will have to refill it in the middle of the week now when it's very hot. I wait for the leaves to drop slightly, and I don't really wait for them to go all the way down because I found that isn't very good. And the last question for moi is, do I turn off my LED lights at night? Yes, I do, and you should too. Because plants need night too. Just as much as they need the day, they need the night period as well. So do turn off the lights. I keep them on for anywhere from 12 to 16 hours. Definitely they still need nighttime, so, you know, that's a must. Those are all the questions that I gathered. I'm sorry if I missed some questions. Don't worry, I have like gazillion plants that I need to repot, so I don't intend to make this the last Q&A. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please, you know, give me a thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel as well. I appreciate it. Leave the comments below. Let me know if you want more repottings with me, like Q&A style, because plants need to be repotted. I would wave, but like I'm just covered in dirt. I think dirt will fly off, so like, bye.